New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hey everybody, it's Tracy Brown. I just love that intro. I just love it because behind the scenes, I am back here just rocking out to it, that bass line. So welcome. Welcome. My name is Tracy Brown, and this is the Saturday morning Science of Mind conversation series. If this is your first time here, I just want to let you know this really is about digging in, just going beneath the surface about science of mind, the philosophy, the faith, and the way of life, helping you understand it, giving you some food for thought, and hopefully inspiring you to go deeper into the study of science of mind, either by watching additional shows on the New Thought Network or by checking out one of the Sunday broadcasts and maybe visiting some of those CSL centers that broadcast their Sunday celebrations right here on the New Thought Media Network, or exploring centersforspiritualliving.org or any of the other sites in your local community. So what do we do on Saturday morning? I know some of you are already in the chat, greeting each other and telling us where you're dialing in from. I love seeing that. We end this show often, almost always have people from all over the globe who dial in on a regular basis. So we love sharing where you're dialing in from. As I sit right here in the middle of the U.S., kind of, sort of, in Texas, Dallas, Texas. So I have to take a deep breath when I remember that while there really is no beginning and no end, that life is always expressing, ever expressing through eternity. On a human level, I'd have to take a deep breath and go, this is the last Saturday of the human calendar year 2022. And I don't know, it just seems like it got here so quickly. But I had to think about what is it? What is it that I really want to dive into? And on this last Saturday of the year, what could we be thinking about and talking about that would match or be in alignment with the end of the year and everything that's been happening, but also set us up perfectly for the coming year, which in this case begins tomorrow. And so I love that we've got Switzerland and Lakewood, California. Sorry, Elvia. Lakewood, Colorado, and the mountains of Colorado. And we've got folks who are on YouTube, and we've got folks who are on Facebook. I love it. And I guess here's a place to start because we're at the end of the year, but we're also at this place where over the last 5 weeks, there's just been one holiday right after the other, one celebration right after another, or something in the news, just a whole series of things. But in the holidays or in the holy days or in the days of celebration, which are in the winter, right? We start with Christmas. No, okay, I am awake. Really. I'm so glad I'm listening to myself. Let's go back to Thanksgiving and then Advent season and Bodhi Day and Hanukkah and Christmas and winter solstice and Christmas and now Kwanzaa. It's a lot. And then tonight we have New Year's Eve, and then we go into a couple more special days early in the next year, as we know about years in the 21st century. And what I'm really aware of is that there is a constant thread, especially in the December holidays, with the light. The light. The light. So Rev Z has in the chat Habargani, which we are coming toward the end of the 7-day celebration of Kwanzaa. And that's really kind of what made me think about this connection with the light, because whether it's Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or focusing on the longest night, indicating we are entering the return toward light, or light will be returning with the solstice, or putting lights in our Christmas decorations or on the Christmas tree, kind of a mix between solstice and Christmas. There's so much focus on the light. And in Science of Mind, we are always talking about being the light, recognizing that the light is always present. The light is always available to us. The light is what we are here to shine. And by shining our best selves, we are actually shining the light of spirit into what seems like darkness of human condition. That the light that we talk about all year long in Science of Mind is just magnified. Our focus is simply magnified during the holiday season, where we have the opportunity to physically light candles, to physically put lights on our homes or on the tree, to have a physical representation of the spiritual light that we already are inside, individually and collectively. So the holiday and celebration season is not quite over yet, but this morning I'm going to invite you to think about, how have you recognized the light during this special time of year? And how are you recognizing and sharing the light that is your life in the world, with the people you know, the places you go? So I want to start there, because the light is so representative of both the season that we're in of holiday and holy day, and it's representative of who we are and who we can commit to being all year long. And yeah, Sharon Mitchell, Reverend Sharon, thank you, Dr. Tracy, lighting the way. I tried not to be more light necessarily than anyone else, but to bring my light into the things that I am committed to and the people I interact with. So, what did Ernest Holmes have to say about light? If we go into the glossary of the textbook, he has a whole lot to say. It's like 2/3 of a page, so I'm not going to read it all. But it starts like this: in flashes of illumination, the inspired have seen into the very center of reality and have brought back with them a distinct impression of what they have seen and felt. A glimpse of this capital R reality illumines the whole being with a flood of light. Every mystic has had this experience. And the great mystics have sensed that one life flows through all, and that all are some part of that life. They have also seen substance of fine, white, brilliant stuff forever falling into everything. Let there be light, and there was light, right? That the commandment in the Bible, or the commandment of God, that light is created. And he gives several more examples of how light shows up in our human experience. Here's what I want to point out about that. You are the light. You can be as much a mystic as Jesus or Hafez or Shalon Harkin or anyone who you think of as a mystic, because you are that light. You are that light. Every one of us is that light. The question is, do you recognize that you are the light? And how do you share the light? Each of the 7 days of Kwanzaa, as I light the candle and repeat and reflect on the principle of the day, I am reminded that I can be the light of Umoja or unity. It is within my power to be the light of Kujichagulia, self-determination. It is my ability to, when I light today's candle for Kuumba or creativity, to remember that through my creative expression, I make a difference in the world. A week ago, when I was lighting the candles on the menorah and thinking about the idea behind Hanukkah and going, oh, what would it be like if I didn't believe there was enough light? I'm lighting this light today to remind me that even when things look like they are not enough, when it feels like I don't have enough, I light this candle today to remind me that there is one source of all life, and it is the supplier of all life, and it has the power of light even when I don't recognize it or I don't think it's there. And likewise, every day lighting the candle during Hanukkah, I was having the experience of I am relighting my light so that I can show up in the world. So my question for you is, in what ways are you reminded that you are the light? In what ways are you bringing your light into not only these last few weeks that we refer to as the winter holidays, but how have you been reminded that you are the winter holiday all year long? or at least you can be. You could be, you can be. You have been designed to be. So, how are you doing it? Where do you see the light in your life? What holiday activities or celebrations remind you to be the light of the world? Because I guarantee you, you must recognize it so that you can share it. And the world needs your light. The world needs more light, your light especially. So that's what I'm inviting you to think about this morning. And as many of you know, the um, the team that does these Saturday Science of Mind conversations decided about 2/3 of the way through the year that for the last part of the year, the last few months, we would feature and highlight um, content or information or philosophy that we would focus on. I know those of you who know me are laughing because you're like, she's not fully awake yet. But that we would concentrate on featuring items and information that you can find in the Science of Mind archives. And the Science of Mind library and archives is such a treasure 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 trove of information. And thank you, Diego. I think I'll share the light by producing new shows on the New Thought Media Network. I think that's a beautiful way to shine your light. You do it so well. While we're talking about the archives, even though Christmas has passed, right, we can make Christmas all year long. And if you're in the archives website, you might want, and you are just wanting a little bit more taste of Christmas, then put Christmas into the search and you'll find a beautiful article that our beloved Diego Reyes wrote a few years ago, I think in 2015 or 16, about what Ernest Holmes had to say about Christmas. So today from the Science of Mind archives, I want to focus on this article that reminds me to be the light. And it's actually the transcript from a radio show that Ernest Holmes did in the late 50s. And so let's share it. The article or the transcript, the show that day in 1950, sorry, not the late 50s, but in 1950, was titled The Whole Human Family. And the whole human family, let's get rid of all of this other stuff. Let's look at a read mode. So I love this because so often when we are talking about Christmas or solstice or New Year's or Kwanzaa or any of the holidays, we think about it as just kind of, oh, it's time to have a little party. It's time to, hang out with friends and family. And it is. At the same time, there's so much opportunity for us to remember that all of these special days and all of these special opportunities we have are contributing to the ways that we engage with one another, and not just our family members, not just those people closest to us. Last week, I was talking with a friend who lives in a different part of the country, of the United States, and uh, and she was saying to me that what she loved most about the season of holidays that we were in was that people were just so nice to each other, and that people were so generous, and that, when she went to the grocery store, people were happy and they were smiling and they were speaking to each other, and that she just really, really valued that experience, number one, but the atmosphere that that experience was creating for her and for everyone else. And in this piece, in this show, Ernest Holmes did the most amazing thing, I think. And he was reminding us that the entire human family is one family. And so let's just, read the first two paragraphs because I think that lays such a good foundation. Everyone wishes to be a friend, to have a friend, and to be a friend. And everyone wants to be happy. Surely it is intended that we all live together in peace and prosperity, and there is a way through which this can be brought about. Let us then think about some of the things we must do to bring about peace on earth and goodwill among men or mankind. First of all, we must do away with race prejudice, for there is really only one race, which is the human race. And while we are all different, we all belong to this one human family. We must learn to respect each other, to know of the needs of the other person, and to realize that at the base of every person's life, there is a sincere desire to love and to be loved. Now, I feel very confident that when Ernest Holmes wrote this and used the words, there is only one race, the human race, because he follows it up immediately with, we're all different and we all belong to this human family. I feel very confident that Ernest Holmes was not dismissing the differences in between people or groups of people. I believe and have confidence in my belief that what he was saying was that, yes, race, as we talk about it in the world then and today, is a human construct. And the spiritual truth is that all of humanity has been created by the same source. And what makes me so confident about this is the fact that the next line emphasized, yes, we are all different. We are not all the same. And creating this peace on earth and goodwill toward all of humanity is what we do when we recognize that we can and should and must respect each other and have a sincere desire to love and to be loved. There's a lot more good in the world than we realize, and it is this good in each other that we wish to bring out. So, for me, when I'm thinking about the light, when I'm thinking about the light during this season of holy days and celebrations, I can't help but think about how brightly we can shine when we recognize that humanity is a large family that is made up of people who are different in so many ways, and that that is not a bad thing. I'm scrolling down. Oh, I love this in this article. I love what he says here. Haven't you often met someone just in passing and said to yourself, if I knew this person better, I am sure that I would admire them? Perhaps we are just a little too timid. Perhaps there isn't quite enough give and take in life. We are all so much alike inside. We all do want people to like us, and we want to feel like we entered into their lives in some vital way. We have the same needs, the same hopes and longings. It doesn't matter that we have different opinions, for we are all individuals. Each is a person in their own right. And unity does not mean uniformity, but unity does mean that we get along as a human family. There are several hundred different churches in the United States, but they all believe in one God. We have two great political parties, but each believes in the United States. We have 48 states at that time in one union. It is not the different opinions that we need to be concerned with, but how to get along with each other in one world. Do you love that as much as I do? I mean, not just because I actually do believe that diversity is a divine idea, that we have been created differently by design. It is not an accident. We have a diversity in the holiday season, representing different cultural beliefs and histories, representing different ways of being in the world, representing different practices from different religious or spiritual paths. But for me, it all comes back to the light. We are all trying to use the light as a representation of hope, of faith, of living based on principles and values. We are all using these holidays and holy days to be markers in time to encourage us to remember the truth. And we use the light to do so. I love what Rev V has in the chat. Light is a form of energy, and that is who we are. We are divine energy expressing in physical form. Okay, I'm like riffing on what you actually wrote, but that's why I put what you typed in the chat, Revzi, on the screen. We are emanations of the Most High. I mean, that makes me sit up a little bit straighter. Like when I go to lunch with a friend today, I'm going to be like, I am an emanation of the Most High. Can you not see it? Okay, I probably won't say that, but in my mind, I will be thinking, am I showing up as the emanation of the Most High that I already am, that I do not need to strive to become, that all I need to do is allow it to be shown through the words that I say and the actions that I take? This is the light that the holiday season is challenging us or reminding us to commit to. And it's not just something to think about, it is how we show up, how we show up, how you show up. And so Kwanzaa has one more day. Christmas is behind us on the scale, if we're using the scale of the calendar. The winter solstice has passed. Christmas, Hanukkah, the solstice, Bodhi Day, Lady of Guadalupe, Advent season has come to an end. And Thanksgiving, for some people, may seem like it was months ago. There's been so much going on. Yet when you hear the news of what's happening and what human beings are doing to human beings, when you get the text or the phone call that someone you have known in human form has transitioned into the light, when you are paying attention to the dynamics in your own family, are you seeing the light? More importantly, are you bringing the light? Because you may be the one, you may be the only one in your circle of relationships who can remember, I am the light. And I am going to bring that light into everything that I do, into the relationships I have, into the way that I complete the tasks, in what I commit to, in how I speak to people. This is the message of the holidays. And as this is the last Saturday of the year, can I be the one to remind you, this is the message for all days, for every day of our lives. So what else did Ernest Holmes share about the human family that I think connects to our commitment to being the light in the world? This last paragraph on page 2. We all live, move, and have our being in one God. This thing called life and the power greater than we are gives itself alike to everyone who receives it. Samuel Walter Foss said, let the howlers howl and the growlers growl and the scowlers scowl. And let the rough gang go it. But behind the night, there is plenty of light, and the world's all right. And I know it. Now, if you can see the screen and you can see this on the screen, I just invite you to, quietly or not, read that last sentence aloud with me. But behind the night, there is plenty of light, and the world's all right. And I know it. Do you live like you know it? I know there are days when I do, and I know there are days when I don't. But every day I have the opportunity to choose again. And as I am thinking about this being the final Saturday and the last day of the year, this line, remembering behind the night there's plenty of light and the world's all right. I know it, and I'm the light, so I can bring it. I can bring it where there seems to be doubt. I can bring this light into the human family in tangible ways whenever it seems like people are confused because they don't act like they know the world's all right, or they are contributing something in word or action that is blocking the light and contributing to that sense that everything's really not all right. But I know behind that, just like when I look at the sky and it's a cloudy day, I know the sun is back there. I know that I can't see the sun right now. I know that I'm not feeling the full warmth of the sun right this moment because I see the clouds, but I am not confused. The clouds are not the truth They are simply a temporary fact, and they are passing through, and they can take their rain with them if they are rain clouds. And there is the sun right where it always is. That's how I want to be. I am the light right where I am. I'll ask you hard questions. I'll shine brightly. I'll ask you hard questions when hard questions are needed. I will challenge you living small when I know you can be bigger and make a bigger or better contribution. So being the light doesn't mean being a lightweight. Being the light doesn't mean that you're always comfortable. Remember, speaking of the sun that sometimes is behind the clouds, I live in Texas. In July and August and early September, there are times when I think the sun is too bright. The sun is giving off way too much heat. I'm like ready for the sun to stop being so draining because it's so bright. We, as the light in human form, sometimes have to come on really strong. There are appropriate times for that. When we are doing it from a place of bringing principle forward or encouraging others to get in alignment with principle. So please don't misunderstand when I talk about the light and think that I'm talking about being a doormat to people or being the light and just smiling or being cute or making everybody comfortable. Jesus didn't make everybody comfortable. Jesus spoke truth. Jesus lived in principle and modeled that for others. So I feel compelled to just add that for a second so that we don't get off track and make up a lie about how the light shows up in humanity. Reverend Sharon says light travels at a constant finite speed of 186,000 miles per second. I love smart people. Darkness travels at the speed of light. More accurately, darkness does not exist by itself as a unique physical entity, but it is simply the absence of light. Yes, yes, and yes. Yes, yes, and amen. Yes, yes, ashe. Yes. And when we study science of mind, we teach this principle that light is the substance. Darkness is simply the absence of the substance. And so when we bring the light into the darkness, just like when you turn the switch on a lamp or on your wall switch for the lights in your home, the darkness doesn't fight. The darkness doesn't say, oh, you can turn that light switch on as much as you want, but I'm here and I rule the world. I rule this room. I am here as darkness and there is nothing you can do. No. You turn the switch on and the darkness has no option because light is the substance. Could we live that in our lives? Could we bring that into the human experience? I don't know about you, but truly for me, that's how I think about the holidays. I think about the holidays and this season as the reminder that there is always light. It is always ready to shine. And it is up to each one of us to live it and to breathe it and to share it and to model it and to demonstrate it. Because if we don't, those who are operating in darkness are as darkness will continue to operate because there's no light shining out or showing up or speaking up. to bring the truth, to bring spirit into whatever is happening. So a couple more highlights from Ernest Holmes' show, The Whole Human Family. It seems as though one part of the world is trying to destroy everything, while the other part is trying to sew it together again. The people who are trying to sew the world together again are those of a larger vision and a deeper faith. Today, they are the hope of humanity. Do I need to remind you this was written in 1950? But if you didn't know that, you would be like, okay, you just gave me my assignment. I am ready to go. It is 2022 on the verge of 2023. And here I am. I am ready to show up as the person with a larger vision and a deeper faith. I am the hope of humanity. Say it out loud to yourself. I am the hope of humanity 3 times. I am the hope of humanity. I am the hope of humanity. Yes, I am the hope of humanity. Ernest Holmes says, you may be certain that those who are trying to tear the world apart have but little faith in God, and those who are trying to put it together again have a deep conviction that there is a spiritual power which could operate in human affairs if we would just allow it. I cannot help but believe that these are the ones who will finally win. For truth crushed to earth shall rise again. The immortal years of God are here. But error, wounded, writhes in pain and dies among her worshipers. You cannot separate what is best in the world from some kind of faith in this thing called life. And somewhere along the line, what is best is bound to win. But it can win only as more and more people come to believe in it, as more and more people come to live as though it were true. And since we act the way we think, the most needed thing in the world today is that more people shall come to believe in God, for God is the great common denominator of the whole human family. We do live and move and have our being in a divine presence, which, if we would let it, could guide us all aright. Take a deep breath. Because today is the day. Not only because it is the last day of the calendar year 2022, not only because it is the last Saturday of the year to talk about Science of Mind on Saturday morning, not only because it is a time that is beginning to wind down the holiday season for most of the current human family. But that challenge, we do live and move and have our being in a divine presence, which, if we would let it, could guide us aright. Today is the day you get to ask yourself the question, am I willing to allow this infinite intelligence, this divine energy that is called God and by 200 other names? It matters not what you call it, but this source of all life. Am I willing right now today to allow it to guide me aright, to guide me in the right ways so that I can show up and be a light in this human family and in the world? That's the question for today. Are you going to be the light of the world, not only during the holidays, but all year long. Are you willing to commit to that? Final comment for today from Reverend Z. Rev Z, the relationship between light and darkness from the ancient wisdom is the rhythmic alternation of the power and presence of God, the law of correspondence in action, as above, so below. We don't just teach this in Science of Mind. All of the mystics from all traditions have taught the same thing, that the relationship between light and darkness is power and presence. We, each one of us, can be the physical representation of this power, the physical representation of the presence of the divine operating right here and right now in the world we live in. I challenge you, whether you're ready to stand up and say, I am going to be guided by this divine presence and allow it to guide me aright, in the right ways, in the ways of the divinity that exists. I'm going to be the light. Well, you may not be ready to say, I commit to being the light. So I challenge you, whether you're ready or not, to have this conversation with at least 5 people. What is the light? How do we bring the light into the darkness that sometimes exists in our human experience, personally or collectively? Talk to 5 people about being the light and how they see that and how you could be that or how they could be that. Because in order to bring the light, we have to make it real to ourselves, to our minds, as well as to our words and actions. And so we're going to end our time together today with a spiritual mind treatment. I'm just being guided to go there as we close out this conversation today and the Science of Mind Saturday series for the year. Just breathe with me. And in whatever way is most comfortable for you, follow your breath into that centered place where you have no doubt that there is only one mind, one love, one law, one light. This infinite intelligence that is operating, that has created all life, that is expressing all life, that is expanding all life, that is evolving all life right here, right now, just as it always has and always will. This is the light. I am the light. Everyone within the sound of my voice has the light already embedded in it, just like every person represents the biology of their physical birth parents. Through the DNA, every person alive represents the spiritual genetics of this infinite source of all of life. And so I claim and declare right here and right now that the light that is the nature of the divine, the creator of all life, is the same light that I experience and that everyone within the sound of my voice experiences, and that the light that is expressed during the holiday season must evidence as the light in our everyday lives. I breathe the light. I exhale the light. I speak the light. I behave as the light. The light is in, as, and through me and my actions and my choices. I am guided by the source of all life so that I can live and help others live as the light, not just in the light, but as the light. The light is going through me and I light up the darkness. My light replaces the darkness that is in the room I am in, the home I'm in, the state I'm in, the nation I'm in, the world that I am in. This is the light. I am that light. My light lights it up, and I am grateful for that. So grateful. Grateful to be aware that the light is already in me. Grateful to be alive and able to shine the light. Grateful to be in alignment with the eternal light of the creator of all light. Take a breath. And with that exhale, I release any and everything that is confused or out of alignment with this light. It is gone. And all that remains is the light. I let it be. I breathe it in. And so it is.